You go to Target, you go to Walmart to buy milk and socks. You go to Bass Pro Shops for the experience.
Time for the Angler Within podcast with Roy Bilby.
I've got to tell you, what a blast it was being part of the grand opening celebration of the brand new Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World in Clifton Park, New York. My goodness, I have never seen so many people through the doors and on the floor while I've been in a store in my life. Now, you were there Sunday. You saw the volume of people.
Yeah, there was nothing left.
Yeah.
I was so excited to go find these deals, and there was some great pricing on a lot of stuff, but as far as what I was in there for, I walked out with, you would have never known I went to a grand opening. I got two mini buzz baits, 2 packages of snap, or of the snaps.
Cross-lock snaps I told you about.
I also picked up 2 speed shads and 48 hours worth of repellent from my Thermacell.
Boy, be glad you got some speed shads. Did you see how that big hole on the shelf?
Yeah, and I saw everybody taking them off your table. I sold your last jack.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That was before you knew I was there. You didn't know I was there yet.
You handed it to the lady. I saw you do it.
Did you see me do that when so you knew I was there?
Yeah.
Did you know that was me when I was down there?
When I walked down, there was one guy behind it. I saw your side profile. I said, JD made it.
Because you were on the tank when I got there, obviously.
Yeah.
So that was.
I didn't see you when I was on the tank.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Just seen you when you're up top.
No, when I came down to the floor and the table, you were right there front and center. I'm like, he made it.
Just for you.
And that was the last one of the weekend, the last tank demo. I was there for 5 days straight, helping out, supporting the grand opening. On the weekend, the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I did my tank demonstrations. I ran the Berkley Jack, which is a lipless crankbait. And I'm going to brag on this bait a little bit here. I represent Berkley, and I've loved their products for years. And I'm just thrilled that I've been able to, legit represent them for the past 2 years. I went down before the store opening, about 3 weeks before the store actually opened, and did employee vendor training on Pure Fishing products, which is Berkley, Abu Garcia, Fluger Reels, Ugly Stick. I mean, Pure Fishing has 20 outdoor brands under its umbrella. Fenwick rods, Fraybill nets, you name it, they probably own it. But I represent Berkley through them. And I'm just so honored to do that because I've used their baits for decades with tremendous success. And it's just basically a feather in my cap that I get to go out and represent them. And they take very good care of me. So I wanted to represent their brands as well as the Bass Pro Shops brands at this grand opening. That's why I demoed the Berkley Jack in the tank and the Speed Shad. Stores typically have more speed shads than they can get rid of. The old fishing lead in the Rick in the Utica Bass Pro Shop store, he said, do me a favor, would you demo the speed shad? We got too many of them, and I would do that and they would sell. But this store, with the volume of people that came through that door, we had to have 10,000 people over the weekend at least. And that's probably a modest estimate. I know when they opened the doors Wednesday night for just 3 hours, it was 6,500 people. And there were people camping in the parking lot at 4 a.m. Wednesday morning. People want to be the first in line for this stuff.
Can I say something? No, I understand it's a very exciting time. I'm just taking my viewpoint as like a guy who came in there. It's a Bass Pro Shop store. Like, it's not like it's a new design or it's like something else. I mean, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But
it is a new design.
How is it new?
Every store that they build is unique and themed to the geographic location where it is.
So that's an Adirondack one then?
That is an Adirondack themed store. Let me give you a little background on this. Here's some of the things that I learned when I was there.
Hold on. So then what's the theme in Utica?
It's the West End, West Gateway to the Adirondacks.
That's the theme in that. That's the theme
but
for
it's
that one.
all different stuff. You look at the two stores and they're totally.
So the gear is different that they're carrying as far as like the camping stuff goes and everything else. Is it different stuff is it
for the Northeast? The gear is very similar. The gear is the same stuff, but if you go to the Ozarks or like the Bridgeport, Connecticut store, half their fishing department is saltwater and half is freshwater.
Okay.
It's geared to the region that they're in because that's what people are looking for. But if you look at the tank in the Utica store, the tank
a lot more species in that tank. Your tank had a lot of bass. Are they going to start adding different fish as it goes on?
Oh yeah. I'm going to put perch in it for them. Those 15 inchers I catch in the spring.
Going to put it in a bucket and bring it up there?
I'm going to transport it. Yeah. You can do that. The largemouth, that big largemouth that they have in Clifton Park, it's a double-digit fish. It's over 10 pounds. And he swallowed that jack whole. I thought it was going right down his throat. Scared me half to death. Because when I brought it to the end of the tank, he was laying underneath it halfway down. And I said, you can also catch fish on the fall. And I just let it free fall. He was directly underneath it. I watched him turn up, open his mouth, and it just dropped inside it like a basketball going down the hoop.
Oh, jeez.
I thought it was going to go right down inside. I saw right inside him. I'm like, don't choke it. I'll get in trouble. That's the biggest one they got in the tank. It was such a blast doing that. But here's the difference. In Utica, on top of their tank, they have rocks and a mountain scene, and you got some white-tailed deer, and they got a birch tree and a few other things like that. But it's nondescript, okay? It's just a lower mountain scene. When you walk into that one in the new Clifton Park store, it's a towering mountainscape that goes all the way up to the ceiling. What it is, up in the Adirondacks on their end, on the east end of the Adirondacks, there's a place called Elizabethtown. And a lot of guys hike the high peaks, and Elizabethtown is part of that high peaks region. And in Elizabethtown, in the high peaks, there's an area called the Split, where there's a waterfall on the right side and a waterfall on the left, and they converge into this huge plunge pool, and then that dumps into another plunge pool below it as a single waterfall. If you look at that tank, they have a waterfall on the right and one on the left. They converge into a plunge pool, and then that pours into the tank. It is a replica of the Split in Elizabethtown. And then the husband and wife artist team that hand painted all those murals. Did you see the murals on the high walls in the store? They were all hand painted off of lifts by a husband and wife team. And they are all Adirondack scenes from the eastern portion of the Adirondacks. They're all actual areas. And in the fishing department, all three walls, it's a continuous mural of, I believe it was called Harbor Bay on Lake Champlain or Lake George.
I didn't pay any attention to any of that while I was in there.
I was looking at it for 5 days. So
right. Yeah. I went in there. It was a mob when I went in. It was still pretty busy. There weren't lines, but it was busy. As busy as it would be in the holiday season. Limped over into the fishing section.
Okay.
And then I limped over to the camping section. And then I'm pretty sure I cut the lines by mistake. I ended up on the first bay of cash registers.
Oops.
And this guy walked over next to me. He's like, can we do that? I'm like, let's just pretend that we can.
Well, getting back, the Berkeley Jack is a lipless crankbait, very similar. It's based on, we all know lipless crankbaits like the Cotton Cordell Hotspot, the Bill Lewis Rattle Trap. Those are the common everyday lipless crankbaits that we're familiar with. Now we have the Strike King Red Eye Shad, which is a little bit narrower. That's a trend. The Berkeley Jack, if you look at it, they have a window in the box so you can look at the profile from above the lure. It's really, really thin. It's kind of like, all right. If anybody's hungry, here's an analogy. You know, everybody loves Oreos, right? Have you seen the Oreo Thins? Have you seen those?
No.
Okay. They're making Oreos now that are like wafer thin. They just call them Oreo thins.
They still come in a package
yeah,
or in a
yeah,
bag?
yeah, but they're just super, super thin. And that's the difference between the Berkeley Jack and all the other lipless crankbaits. They're thick and the Jack is super thin. And what that does, it not only cuts the water like a blade, but it gives it a sharper, more intense vibration, which is really handy in off color or stained water. But it's also weighted with tungsten. They did that so it would show up better on forward facing sonar, but it also gives it a sharper, crisper rattle than lead, which has a softer knock. So it's got all these things going for it. We took a brand new one out of the package, took the treble hooks off it. I used the Berkeley Speed or the Bass Pro Shops Speed Shad in the tank first. And when they grab that, it feels soft and they hang on to it, right? I figured they'd hit the jack and just let go of it once they felt the hardness, it's a hard plastic bait. But these fish blew me away. When I switched to the jack, I put it in the tank. I made a cast about halfway across the top and it dropped less than a foot and the fish had it. He swam halfway around the tank, rip and drag. No hooks in it. He just refused to let go of it. And that just really, really surprised me. And I mean, when you go up on a tank, for me, my job in the store is to promote what they sell. That pro staff is promotional staff. And that's my job. My job is to move product. And when I have such a great selling tool, promotional tool, like that big giant aquarium where people can stand on the floor, see the lure land in the water, see the way I work it, and see the way the fish track and strike it, it really sells the lures. I mean, they see that it works.
No, what's great, though, is that what you did at the end when you came down to your table, you gave that lucky group of people that happened to be there at that point in time the rest of your secret on how you made that how do what it does. Because
that's right. And how I rig it.
Because, like, you don't always share that. I've seen you do that presentation before. You didn't share that, what you shared at the end. Even I was writing it down because I never heard you say that before either. So, the guy next to me did the same thing. People were taking pictures of that bag of hooks, of the jig head.
Yeah.
Easter egg. Better grab that, everybody. I wrote that down. But I mean, think about all the folks that don't know the second half to that, who get those baits and don't have it set up the way that you got yours set up. And I wonder if they're even like noticing that they're not getting the same results.
I give that information out almost all the time, but I always scan the crowd. See, consider this, all right? Put yourself in my shoes. I love to give out that information, but I'm not going to do it if I see someone I compete against standing there at the table.
And how often does that happen?
I saw 4 different guys I've competed against in the store across the 5 days.
So you do have to.
So I'm just cautious where I dispense that juice.
Do you say?
That's all. There's a few things I like to keep to myself, but if I'm out in Bridgeport, Connecticut, I'm going to show that to everybody because it's going to help them catch a lot more fish. I've done it in Utica and I've done it in Auburn and I did it all the time in Clifton Park, unless somebody I knew was there, because I don't want them to use that against me.
Can you say what it was, or is it too open forum on this for you to say?
You really have to show it in order to understand it.
Sure, but are you going to say what the jig head is that you're talking about that helps you do what you do with that bait?
No, I am not.
Okay.
Because the other jig heads will work too. That one gives you a strategic advantage.
Yeah.
And it's a big advantage.
Just a little bit, yeah. I mean, that was a game changer. That's why the people that were standing there when you said that, everybody honed. The ones who were paying attention hyper focused on what you were doing when you pulled that out, because everyone's like, there's the ace up the sleeve, the trick.
Yeah, the magician giving away his secrets.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
Nothing up this sleeve. But did you hear what I said? Did you hear the precursor I gave before I said that?
You said that none of the people that I compete against are here, so I'll tell you this. I heard you say it. Yeah.
And that's the truth.
But I don't recall. I think that when we did the Anglerversary episode, I don't think you were pushing speed shads that day. You must not have been. I don't remember you saying anything about that at all.
Yeah, I don't remember what I had in the tank that day. I've done so many demos. I don't remember. I usually do the speed shad though, because stores are usually flush with those and they have so many, and I help them thin the shelves. But I am proud to say when I walked in the store Saturday morning, the manager was really anxious to see the tank demos and how the customers reacted to it and how it worked as far as a sales tool. And, what are you putting in the tank? I said, well, I looked on the shelves to see what you have a lot of. And you've got a lot of speed shads like all the stores do, but I wanted to put a Berkeley in the lure in the tank because I represent them as well. And you don't have the credge, which I really wanted to do, but you don't have any in the store. But you have a lot of their lipless crankbait, which is called the Jack. You have a lot of them. You have a lot. And I said, and I'm going to do my best to sell every one. Now, I didn't confess to him.
Did you say
I didn't?
Where's your credges, you credge backwards?
Yeah. What credge? But I love that story because it's the jerk spelled backward. It's a cool lure and it does what nothing else does. But we have talked about that. But I said that I'm going to try to sell every one you have in the store. But in my own head, I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to do that because they had so many. But I did it. You passed out the last one. It was the last one in the store. I sold every single one they had. And I was pretty darn proud of that.
You did 140 in 3 days. Is that what you did?
It was 140, 150, something like that. I know I started with the Primo colors first, the ones I was using in the tank that looked like a bluegill, but they were going in like 2 demos. I'm like, well, all right, let's go with Golden Shiner because they're prominent. Then we had to move to all the other colors that they had. The thing is, every single color, they don't make a color that won't catch fish, but the closer you can match it to the predominant forage where you fish, the more strikes you're going to get because it looks like what they eat every day. But sometimes throwing something different gets a lot more attention too.
Do you ever use them as a body on a spinner, as a trailer?
No, I don't. Now you sound like the mad scientist. Hey, what would happen if we did this?
Yeah, well, I mean, why wouldn't you? Because I mean, the body's there. The body's there. Not the tiny one, but like the medium size. You could put on a micro spinner.
Oh yeah,
and that would probably look pretty cool.
Give it more flash. And that's exactly what he's always going for. Let's draw their attention, where I tend to use traditional stuff. He's thinking of stuff so far outside the box and he catches fish on it. You know what? I'm going to fish my strengths. You fish yours. And let's see where this goes.
I need his help. He said he was going to give me some lures. I need some for
he will.
St.
He
Lawrence.
Will. He'll take care of you.
Yeah.
He will take care of you. So yeah, the grand opening, I'll talk a little bit about opening night. It was just, I've had a contract with Bass Pro Shops for 8 years now, but I've always gone into stores that are already established. I've been on this one from the ground up. So I got to be a part of the grand opening. And that's why I spent the first 5 days that was there. I didn't even ask to be paid the first 3 days. I said, look, I contractually owe you 4 visits a year. I don't want to burn them all up. So don't pay me for the first 3 days. Just pay me for the weekend. And then I get to come back 2 more days. I donated my time to support the grand opening because I wanted to be part of that experience. And that's the difference. You said, well, it's just another Bass Pro Shop.
I take it back. Same. I completely take it back. What was I was ignorant of me to say. I'm sorry.
Well, so many customers in the store. I spent the first couple of days because I wasn't doing demos. I was helping people find stuff and just talking with customers going, what do you think of the new store? And they're like, this place is incredible. I said, yeah, you know what? They said, for a big box store. I said, well, here's the difference. You want to talk big box stores? You go to Target, you go to Walmart to buy milk and socks. You go to Bass Pro Shops for the experience because that's what it is. That's why they call it a destination store. It is an experience you don't get anywhere else. And that's why they decorate them the way they do. And I got to give out a shout out to my good friend, Tom Hoffman, creator of Hoffman's Car Wash. This man, he's a world renowned hunter. Tom Miranda, one of the biggest bow hunters in the world, TV show, video series, podcast, book series. He refers to Tom Hoffman as his mentor. All right. I'm going to brag a little bit on Tom here because he donated 130 mounts to the new Clifton Park store, and approximately 80 of them are in the Clifton Park store. His own personal mounts from his hunting career and everything with a bow and arrow. He's the first man in the world to accomplish the Pope and Young Super Slam on wild sheep. Now you have to
What? What
you
is it
have
called?
to, Pope and Young is the record bookkeepers for
Okay.
bow and arrow hunters. All right. Boone and Crockett is the record book for people who hunt with a gun like I do, with a firearm.
So Pope and Young.
Pope and Young is the record book for bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And so they all have a scoring system. But he's the first man in the world to accomplish the Pope and Young Super Slam on wild sheep. There's 28 species of wild sheep that exist throughout the world. He's leaving in 2 days for Mongolia for a sheep hunt for his wife. He's just going as a cheerleader, and he wants to see her do this. But he has taken all 28 species that exist in the world with a bow and arrow, and to qualify for the Pope and Young Super Slam, all 28 have to make record book. And he's the first man in the world to accomplish it. And he came to one of my fishing seminars at Sacandaga Bible Conference that I do every January. And we talked afterwards, and we kind of struck a friendship with each other. I did a seminar on how I catch those giant perch. And he's like, I'd really like to do that giant perch with you. I said, give me your phone number. I'll call you when the water temp's right, and we'll get you on the giant perch. And that was 2 years ago. He's gone with me every spring. I've had him out 3 times on the giant perch, and he took me striper fishing in May on the Hudson River with a friend of his. So yeah, we keep in touch. We talk every couple of weeks, and he's leaving in 2 days for Mongolia. So for those of you who listen to this podcast who have been, and I know some of you have been in the new Clifton Park store because I met you there, 80 of the wild game mounts in that store were taken by my dear friend Tom Hoffman. And when you walk in the front doors, and you saw this, JD, when you walk in those massive front doors, you walk into what looks like an Adirondack camp with a fireplace and the wood and all those mounts. From there to the turnstiles, every mount you see there is his. They gave him the whole front entryway.
I never looked at either wall. I was hearing your
Where's
voice.
The fishing stuff? Where's the fishing
I was
stuff?
hearing your voice and walking towards the tank, and I was limping. So I was just trying to not get run over by people as I was going.
Because you made it just in time for my final tank demo.
Yes.
Yep.
So I didn't even know. I mean, I did notice that there was a strange amount of, demilitarized zone between the doors and where the gates, where the turnstile was.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is odd. But I figured it was to do like, any kind of vendors could go there or something. I figured was going on or maybe they could put boats there. But
if you head out the front doors, you look above those, that whole wall they have different mountain goats up there on a little mountainscape. I didn't count. There's probably 10, 12, 15 of them.
Full size mounts?
It varies, but a lot of those up there are full size. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's got them in the bow hunting department. If you go into the bow hunting department, he's got a moose with a mural painted in the antlers, and everybody loves that. He's just got cool.
I didn't see any of the stuff that you're talking about. I guess that's why I wasn't all that impressed.
Well, you need to go back and
I'm
take
gonna
a second
have to
look.
now. Well, I was on a bit of a time squeeze when I came through, but I will go back. And again, I'm sorry that I even had the I had the ignorance.
I was so glad you made it. So glad you made it. The grand opening was pretty cool. Now, Jimmy Houston was supposed to be the MC. His plane got stuck in Chicago. He made it, but he didn't make it till like maybe little under an hour before they closed. But then he stayed an hour and a half beyond closing because he was talking to people.
And then
That's the
but
kind
then
of
he
guy
was gone the next day.
Oh, yeah. On to the next appearance. But Kevin Van Dam did a great job as the MC. And I want to share this because I got a kick out of this. Now, my wife has always liked Kevin Van Dam. He's a good looking guy, she says. Yeah, I like him. So years ago, when I was attending seminars, he came to Auburn, New York after they opened the Bass Pro Shops there, along with 2-3 other pros who it was part of the Bass University, where 3 or 4 pros would travel and you pay $150 and you're there for a couple of days, and they give their personal seminars. They all give you an hour and a half, and there's giveaways, and everybody went to Bass Pro Shops with a coupon and all this stuff. And so she traveled with me to that. And before the seminar started, he's on the floor and everybody's talking to him. I said, "Do you want to meet Kevin Van Dam?" She's like, "Oh, no, I couldn't do that. I'm like, he's just another guy who's done extraordinary things. Okay, he's a normal person. Here's your chance. When are you going to get another chance to meet him?" She's like, no, that's okay.
Did you spend some time chatting with him?
Oh, yeah.
Did you tell him? Did you tell him about the podcast?
I didn't talk to him about the podcast this time. He's got his own. He's way too busy.
Did you tell Jimmy Houston about the podcast?
I left before Jimmy Houston got there.
All right. Just checking.
Okay. So I've got somebody in mind on the Elite Series, but I'm not going to say anything until I talk to him and see if he'll agree to do it.
Good.
But I think he will. So
awesome.
I'm working on it. And he's done extremely well too. And I think he'd be open to it. But I did when I went in the store for the evening of the grand opening, I went in early so I'd have time to talk with Jimmy and Roland and Kevin and Chris Johnston and all the guys that were there. And I wanted to meet Johnny Morris, but he was on a trip to Belgium, and they said Jimmy's plane is on the tarmac in Chicago. They're having bad weather. We don't even know if he's going to make it. And Kevin Van Dam said, "So this is going to be the first time I MC, but we got this." So I told my wife, we were walking to the back of the store. I said, "There's Kevin right there." She's like, "Holy cow, it is him." I didn't say anything. I just walked straight up to him. I said, "Kevin, this is my wife, Rebecca. She's always wanted to meet you."
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I dumped it right in her lap. And he turned, he smiled, he shook her hand. He goes, "Well, you must really be some kind of a saint to put up with all the nonsense this guy's put you through." Oh, it was great. It was great. He's a fisherman. He knows what our wives go through.
Sure.
I mean, he knows better than anybody what a tournament wife goes through. But he's retired now, working on his TV show and still doing promotional work for Strike King, Bass Pro Shops, and all his sponsors, Toyota. So, and he shifted his career last year. His new show, The Van Dam Experience, is really, really good. So
The Van Dam Experience is the name of his podcast?
It's a TV show.
TV show.
It's really good. He goes to all the lakes that he likes and explains what he's doing as he does it. And if you're a fisherman and you like fishing shows, it's way up there. It's really, really, really good. So my wife got to meet Kevin Van Dam. So that was cool. And like I said, when Thursday and Friday, I just kind of mingled with the customers and made sure they knew where everything was. And I asked them how they liked the store. But while I had my table set up Saturday and Sunday, as you saw, I always put my own promotional materials on the table for the Instagram, for the podcast, the magazine articles, and the different things I've done. And then I have all the lures that I'm going to put in the tank, a big supply of both lures, so I can show them to people and talk about their features and show them how I rig them after I do the tank demos. But I have never... And this is another reason I wanted to do the grand opening. I have never experienced the volume of people in front of the tank or at my table for the tank demos that I did this past Saturday and Sunday. So many people. And that's why I was able to sell them completely out of those products. I mean, because it was so many people, it really made me look good, because I wiped the store out. Now they got to reorder. They're gone. Every single last one.
Well, you're good at
Eh,
what you do. It's not a matter of making you look good. You're legit.
Well,
It's all right.
I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
8 years, I've gotten very comfortable with it. And the thing is, I just enjoy it too much. My contractual obligation to each store is for 4 appearances a year, 4 hours per appearance. I never do that. I was there 8 hours, because I love doing it. I only do 3 tank demos. I don't wear the fish out. I don't beat them up, and I don't have any hooks, but I'm not going to
Well,
wear them out.
the tank demo's short though. You're not up there very long.
And that's
With the
by
lure in the water.
design.
Yeah.
That's by design, because my bottom line is my job in the store is to move product. If I don't sell product, if I don't move product for my sponsors or for them, which I mean, they're my sponsor too. If I don't move product for them, what am I doing there? What are they paying me for?
Right.
They sell product every day. My job is to increase the volume of product that goes out the door during the time that I'm there. But that's not why I spend 8 hours. The 4 hours that I'm supposed to do is when I do my tank demos. The other 4 hours, I'm just talking to people and promoting the products that are on my table. So they get 8 hours out of me, and I am happy to do it because I feel like the luckiest man in the world that I get to be the one guy who can walk through the front doors of Bass Pro Shops, walk straight to the back, climb on top of the tank with a rod and reel, and throw a lure in the tank. And I don't have state police waiting for me to come off the tank so they can arrest me. I have a contract that says I can do it.
What is up with that being like the trend?
TikTok.
Horrible.
TikTok challenge. Jump in the tank at Bass Pro Shops. Wednesday night, when they had the grand opening, the police presence that was there was huge. It was the Saratoga County Sheriff's Department and the Clifton Park police were there everywhere you look. And I thought it was for security for the celebrities that were coming in. It was to make sure nobody jumped in the fish tank. And nobody did, because the front of that tank is so high off the floor, you would need a ladder to do it. But they said, yeah, well, people have done that. They find a ladder or they bring one and they go straight to the back. And before anybody knows what's going on, they're climbing up and they're swimming. And then they're hauled off in handcuffs. And I hope it was worth it. But you contaminate the tank. So don't do that, people. Please don't do that. But you'll be proud to know that Saturday and Sunday, the whole time I talked to people at my table, and I did it for 8 hours, I promoted our podcast. But you'll also be happy to know that I didn't have to promote it to everybody that was there. And this, JD, this blew me away. And it's not the first time this has happened, but I was blown away. And I sincerely, I want to give a shout out to a gentleman that traveled like 4 hours from Owasco Lake all the way out to Clifton Park because he is a fan of our podcast and heard the podcast where I said I would be at the grand opening. And he just wanted to shake my hand and tell me how much he enjoys our podcast. And I sincerely apologize because I never got his name. So, my friend, I know I thanked you like 5 times that day for driving all that way. And I told you that you made my day, but you really did, man, that it blew me away that he would drive that far to tell me how much he enjoys our podcast. That was a big deal for me. So thank you. Direct message me through my Instagram and give me your name, sir. I would like to thank you again. But that's the kind of stuff I ran into. And I'll tell you why, because he stood behind everybody. I had just done like my second tank demo on Saturday, and it was 3 or 4 people deep at the table. And it took a while for them to clear out. But I kept seeing him behind everybody, just standing. He's a huge guy, has hands like a baseball mitt. And I just know it. He was easy to notice because he's a big man. And he was just waiting very patiently And once everybody cleared out, he walked up to the table, put out his hand. He said, "Hey man, I just want to shake your hand and tell you I really enjoy your podcast." And he said, "I live on a Wasco Lake." And I cut him right off. I said, "Whoa, a Wasco? What's that? 3.5, 4 hours?" He goes, "Yeah." Well, I said, "How in the world did you hear about our podcast?" He lives in Wasco. He lives in the Finger Lakes. So he was searching for podcasts about the Finger Lakes. And as soon as he said that, it clicked. I went, Confessions of a Finger Lakes Guide. When you named that podcast, you gained us another listener, because he said, I listened to that. And he said, I listened to all of them now. I think it's really, really good. And I really like it.
Out of the last 5 that we've done, that was the highest performing.
Thank you, Nick Petru.
Yeah.
You brought us up.
Keep telling your friends, Nick.
Yeah. Keep telling your friends, buddy. Giddy up. Yeah. So that's why he started listening, but he liked the chemistry, liked the podcast. And I'm getting so many people direct messaging me now. I want you to know that they talk about the chemistry we have. So
thank you.
Whatever we're doing, we got to keep doing it.
I wondered if I would get recognized when I was standing behind your table, but nobody knew who I was. So it was okay. Well, totally fine.
When we go with the video, you'll get recognized.
Yes, there's that.
That would help a lot. Well, hard to recognize you standing there.
It's coming, folks. We could stream with how we record this now, and you can see our lovely faces. But this evening, for instance, Roy is not. He's not. What's the word?
Well, I'd have to wear a shirt.
You'd have to wear a shirt. I was going to use a different word to describe that you were. What's the word that you would describe yourself as far as shirtless? What's the nice way to say that you don't have a shirt on?
Shirtless.
He is. Sure. Roy.
The night it was 85 degrees in your house, and you heard the ice cream truck go by. You said, "I'm shirtless tonight."
I was.
Yeah, but you've
got AC though. I don't.
Yeah. It just kicked on.
What?
It hadn't kicked on because
how high is it set?
I have it set at 73. That's not real high.
No, it's not very cold.
Not real high.
It's not cold at all.
But it's just, we live on the side of a ridge and we face the east. So we lose the sun really fast. Early. Even in the summer, we lose it early. We lose it 4:00 in the afternoon. Because we're at the bottom of the ridge and it goes straight up, and the air temp drops 10 degrees and it cools everything right off. So the AC just wasn't kicking on. So we'll wear shirts when we go video. How's that? I figured you did it once. I could do it. Who's going to complain?
I'm not. No one's complaining. No one can see you. It's fine. Yeah. Got a hairy chest.
Well, I'm an old guy, so
I think I don't know. Mine's. I got. Look at these. Look at that.
I'm just glad nobody else can see this.
I got some moobs.
Yeah.
Man boobs.
You need a man's ear.
The dad bod is real right now because I haven't exercised in months. I haven't gotten, so I'm not getting my usual exercise in, and I've gained some weight. I didn't look too bad, did I?
No. You look the same to me.
Are you just saying that? I feel
no, I am
fat.
not.
I feel fat. My body image right now is not very good.
So get in your kayak and paddle. That's good upper cardio.
Hey, Lord knows I've been doing plenty of that. Did that this weekend. Once again,
it won't hurt your leg.
It was windy. Got out on that special body of water that we talk about all the time.
I want you to talk about that little pike that Matt Bull caught.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into. So we went out. We were on the water by, 10 o'clock that morning, and then we hopped out for one break. We hopped out again for lunch. Had Speedies. Sean cooked.
Oh man.
You missed out on this one. It was good. It was a good time. But I left to go and grab the dog and put her outside. And while I was gone, some crazy stuff happened because when I returned, Matt was asking me if I had seen the group chat, and I hadn't. And he had a broken rod in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was kind of shaken up still. He was excited, but he was he was still coming off of what had just transpired. And Sean was just laughing. And so, as it turns out, Matt hooked into a very large northern pike, one that, pulled him around on his kayak for a while.
Yeah.
And when he eventually got it close to and it kept on taking off on him, it bent his rod straight over like an ugly stick. And it did not.
But it wasn't an ugly stick.
Crack. Broke his rod. He hand reeled what they estimated to be 15 to 20 pound northern pike. He hand reeled it twice. And
we know there's big ones in there.
He was trying to pick it up and get his hand, positioned to hold it up out of the water for the picture. And he lost it, but they both said that he couldn't get it out of the water. That's how heavy it was. He couldn't get the fish out of the water.
Yay.
So, interesting.
Yeah.
There was no photo, but I don't think that they would tell a story. So I think this is real. I'm going to give it my stamp of approval.
When you first told me about that, I said, show me the pictures.
Yeah.
You said, no pictures. I'm like,
I know. It's just like whenever somebody catches a giant bass up at the lake and they don't weigh it. I'm like, got to weigh these things, man. Got to weigh them.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's too bad he didn't have an ugly stick, but the way things ended up, he ended up with a pretty ugly stick, didn't he?
It was a tough day. The first part of the day, we each got one bass to the boat, and mine didn't make it into the boat. It was alongside of it, snapped at the knot on a topwater frog, hollow body. I was, give it a couple twitches, let it sit, twitch once, let it sit, and then kaboom.
Kaboom.
And I waited 2 seconds. I counted the 1,000, 2 1,000, and I set the hook, and it was set. It was down the gullet. It was down pretty far down the throat of that bass. I could have gotten it out, but it fought for a while, and I got it next to the boat, and I went to reach down to grab onto its mouth, holding onto the line, and then put my hand down, and it jerked its head, and he snapped the knot, snapped the line right at the knot. Gone. So that's why I wanted to get the snap swivels. Or not the swivel, but the snap.
The snap, bass snap.
Yeah, I'm going to, because I feel like I would imagine, tell me if I'm wrong, that braid probably ties onto that better than it does an eye hook. Or a hook.
No, it'll tie on just the same, but use a Palomar knot when you tie it.
Okay.
Because it'll put 2 wraps around the line tie part of that snap and just gives you a better grip.
Okay.
And it's a great knot, does not slip, and it holds and braids super, super well.
So I think Matt got 2 to the boat, and he had a 4 to 5 pounder as well. He didn't have a scale. Got the picture, no scale. So perhaps.
Yeah, I saw the picture of that.
Should I use him as the cover for this one this time, or should I use you and Roland Martin at the opening? We haven't used Matt yet.
I'll send you pictures.
All right.
Did I already send them to you?
Yeah, you did. I said, do I use the one of you and Roland Martin or Van Dam, or I'll use you and Van Dam. We'll use Matt again another time. It's all right. You want Roland Martin or you want Van Dam?
Go with Van Dam. We'll use Roland in another one.
Okay. Got it.
Everybody knows them anyway. Like, who's the guy standing next to him?
Exactly.
Is that JD? So before we go, I want to throw one more. I want to put out, I'm just still, when I got home, it's an hour drive home from Clifton Park, and I was there for 5 days. When I got home the 5th day, even after driving an hour home, my poor wife, Van Dam, was right. She puts up with a lot. I was pacing back and forth for an hour telling her everything happened that day because I was still so jacked up and wound up about it. If you ever get the opportunity to attend a grand opening of a Bass Pro Shops anywhere, do it. Because the air for all 5 days I was there was pretty darn electric. I could feel it, and I did my best to add to that. And I had the time of my life doing what I do to promote for them. But what we're dealing with this time of year now, we're going through a pretty serious drought in our area. You mow the grass, you get more dust out to shoot than grass. It's more brown than green. It's not growing. You haven't cut it for 2 weeks, and you look and you don't need to. Water levels are falling and dropping. And when that happens, fish pull off the bank. They go for the security of deeper water because they know the water's falling. And it's similar to it's the reverse of what happens in the spring, where when the water gets high, they move into the newly flooded cover on people's lawns, into their shrubs, because they're foraging. But when the water drops out of its banks, they pull back for the security of deep water. And case in point, to illustrate, like with the rising water in the spring, back in the mid-90s, I fished Sacandaga Reservoir in May. We went for the walleye opener and that we just weren't getting into the walleye. So I said, skip this. I'm going to go smallmouth fishing. And I went to go to a point that I like to fish. And this is a big reservoir, Great Sacandaga Lake, huge reservoir up in the Adirondacks and very popular. A lot of tournaments there, a lot of pleasure boaters, a lot of islands. And they flooded villages when they built this reservoir, and the houses and all that stuff is still down there. Tremendous amount of history there. And now I got to look, I can see those houses and stuff on my live scope. It's wild. And you never used to be able to you used to have to use a map and triangulate and all that stuff and try to pick up stuff with your sonar, and you couldn't tell what it was. Now you can see it. But I was there in the early 90s, and I ran to a point I like to fish. There's several parks, several campgrounds, multiple launches, but there's this one park I like, and they have a park building. They have a lot of picnic tables out on the point, and I went there where I thought it was, and I couldn't find the point. I'm like, am I in the right area? Then I recognized the park building not very far offshore. I'm like, it's so water so high, the point is flooded. And as I got closer, I could see the tops of the picnic tables. And you talk about fish moving shallow into people's lawns and stuff. I was running a crankbait around and into the legs of the picnic tables and catching smallmouth. So when people say when the water rises, fish shallow, there's a reason for that. I've done it and it works. And when the water is falling like it is now due to drought conditions, pull back and go to the first break off the bank and see if the fish are there. They won't move far, but they'll move to the closest place where they feel more secure with the water levels falling. And that's typically the first break out from the bank. So there's the tip of the podcast. We'll try to have a few more next time. I just got wound up in talking about this grand opening because it exceeded all my expectations. The staff in the store, all the managers, all the leads, and all the outfitters in the store are excited to be there and help you get started on your next adventure. They did a phenomenal job. I met with a lot of regional people there, made a lot of good contacts, and it was just a great experience. Like I said, it exceeded my expectations. So
that's great.
There it is.
Well, let Roy exceed your expectations and drop into his direct messages. DM him at all lowercase Roy Bilby on Instagram.
And as always, we're excited to exceed your expectations, hopefully, with this podcast called The Angler Within. And it's all about taking the 40 years I've written everything down and condensing it into 30 and 40-minute segments to help you shorten your learning curve and tap into your
Angler Within.
Giddy up.